Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you want a new you for the new year, then do we have the Dr. Sears T5 Wellness Plan show for you. Today I'll be talking with Dr. Sears, the international best-selling author of over 40 books, including the baby book, the father of Dr. Jim Sears of The Doctors, and the author of a comprehensive yet fun new favorite book that's sure to change your health, the Dr. Sears T5 Wellness Plan. And that's just what I want to talk with him about today, about 5 easy steps to change your health and change your life. That, plus we'll talk about the importance of hugs, the benefit of chopsticks, the danger of sticky stuff, confessions of a chocolate lover, Sister Mary Ursula and Little Bear Medicine, and what in the world wearing earmuffs in the kitchen has to do with anything. So welcome to the show, Bill. Are you ready to shine?
I'm ready, Michael. Let's go for it.
Woohoo!
All right.
So before we dive right into things, can you tell us where you grew up and what your earliest years were like?
Well, I grew up in the Midwest, a tiny little town called Alton, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I grew up in a very emotionally rich but financially poor family. The only child of a single mom.
Yeah.
So I worked my way through everything. When my mother, a very wise person, you want it, you work for it.
Yeah.
And what I think the secret to my success is my mother surrounded me with quality mentors and said, you just learn from those people. But Mom, like I wanted to go to the fun high school.
Yeah.
And she said, no, you're going to go to Marquette High where you're going to learn manners and morals and good living. But Mom, you're going to go to that high school, son, and you're going to earn the tuition for it. Okay, Mom. So as usual, Mom was right about everything.
One of the things that I find coolest about what Mom said, if you acted upon it, and this was when I was challenged by as a child, I didn't grasp this until much, much later. If you want to learn something, ask about it from a mentor.
Absolutely. Because mentors, they've made the mistakes. They've learned from them. They are smarter than you because they've lived longer. They've done more. Mm-hmm. So learn from them. And very simple, Michael, closed people have problems. Open people, cautiously open people, are happier people because they learn from people around them.
Can you tell us about Sister Mary Ursula and what was her Little Bear Medicine for you?
Okay. Well, you really did read our book.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, then Sister Mary Ursula was my 4th grade teacher. Now, I had what's called, it wasn't invented yet, ADHD. I was a typical hyperactive child. So when Sister Mary Ursula would come over at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock every day, grab me by the shoulder very firmly. Mm-hmm. And Sister Mary Ursula means little bear in Latin. So little bear would grab me by the shoulder and she'd say, Billy, you're staring out the window, because I wanted to be out the window.
Oh, yeah.
You're staring out the window. You're fidgeting too much. Go outside, run around the schoolyard 3 times, come back and sit still. That was my Ritalin. It worked like a charm. So fast forward to 65 years later, what do they do now in schools for the hyperactive kids? They run them because movement mellows the mind. That's one of the mantras in our T5 book. Movement mellows the mind. Go outside and play. Go outside and play is the best medicine in the world.
Music to my heart, to my ears, to my soul.
To your soul.
So let's go from there, and we're going to get into more things like geeking out with 10,000 steps and all this good stuff. Before we do that, how'd you end up going to seminary school?
Well, I knew I wanted to do one of 2 things. Mm-hmm. I wanted to develop what I call the helper's high. Yep. The helper's high is something I learned from my mentors. That happiness, inside happiness, from the inside out, depends upon how much you help other people. Because when you help other people, they help you. And I felt, well, I could be a pastor or a priest and help people grow spiritually. Well, after 3 years in the seminary, I realized I wanted to have a family. So I, what they call discerned out. They don't call it quit now. They call it discerning out.
I like it.
So I discerned out and went to medical school to become a doctor because I felt that was where I could practice and feel the helper's high. You know, Michael, if you do it, if you give it, you feel it. So the more you give, that's why we write so many books. Because if we can change somebody, I go to bed at night and I lie there and I drift off to sleep with this high dose of the helper's high, the greatest medicine in the world. Because I know that a few people out there are happier and healthier because of something I wrote or something they saw on a program like this.
Woohoo! So on that note, on that discernment note, how did you discern your spiritual soulmate, Martha?
Martha, all right. Here we are. This was in 1967. All right. I'm the doctor in charge, the senior medical student in charge of emergencies on the ward.
Yeah.
Martha is the nurse on the ward. So bingo, we get what's called a code blue. Code blue is emergency, like room 401, heart attack. So I grab my team of doctors and run to the bedside. And guess who the nurse is at the bedside? Martha. Now, I did pay more attention to the patient than I did the nurse.
Good.
But after it was all over, I asked her if she would like to have lunch with me. And that was the beginning. 3 months later, we were engaged. 9 months later, married. 51 years later,
oh my God,
my soulmate, we're still together.
Woohoo! So fast forwarding from there, it's kind of taking it from a high to a low in a sense, almost exactly 30 years later, April 22nd, 1997.
Wow. I'm impressed. You really read the book. That was a changing moment in my life. I was diagnosed with a severe case of colon cancer. And I realized, hey, I've got 8 kids. I've got a lot to live for. I've got to take charge of my health. And that's when, Michael, I started what I called the transformation. Diets, they come and go, these fad diets, you know, they come and go, you lose, you gain, you lose, you gain. I wanted an inside job. I wanted to change myself at the cellular level that would last a lifetime because my family needed me. And that's why I developed the T5 program, the health program. And I teach it. I've been teaching that in my family, in my office, in our medical practice, in our Dr. Sears Wellness Institute for 20 years. And really, you hold, it's very simple, you hold the 5 keys to your health, to your mind and body health in the palm of your hand.
So let's talk about those 5 keys. And I like that you call it a do it rather than a diet.
Do it, because when you do it, you feel it. And that's why we call the T5 an inside job. So I want our listeners to look at the palm of their hand. Stretch out your 5 fingers. All right, there you go. All right, number 1. T number 1, transform number 1 is eat the 5S diet, the 5 S's. A smoothie in the morning, a shake a day keeps the doctor away. Then salmon, wild salmon, the top mind food. The third is salads with spices. The more greens, the more turmeric, black pepper, good salads and spices. The fourth one is grazing. And the fifth one is science-based supplements, only supplements based on science. So that's the first 5S diet. The second is graze on 5 mini meals a day. I call it Dr. Bill's rule of twos. Eat twice as often, eat half as much, and chew twice as long. The more you chew, the better for you. And then the third S is move more, 5 times a day. And, we'll talk about this later. Movement makes your own internal medicines. When you move, you open your pharmacy. And the fourth is stress less with 5 stress busters. And the fifth one with my thumb is share with 5 friends. Because when you feel it and do it, you've got to share it. That's what we call the 5S. And you hold the 5 S's to your health, to your transformation in the palm of your hand.
Woohoo! So let's talk about the first S. But actually, before we do that, there's 3 important words that maybe sums up everything that you just described. Avoid sugar spikes.
Again, I'm so impressed you read the book because that's one of the themes. If somebody in my office, I say that 10 times a day in my office for people who come in with itis illnesses, inflammation, heart problems, gut problems, pains in the gut, pains in the joint, pains everywhere. Avoid sugar spikes. When you spike, and the kids love this analogy, sticky stuff. When you spike, you get sticky stuff in your arteries, and the arteries clog up. And the golden rule of medicine is every organ in the body is only as healthy as the blood vessels supplying it. And when you fill those blood vessels and clog them with sticky stuff, your organs don't work. It's a very simple explanation of illness. No sticky stuff, wellness. Lots of sticky stuff, illness.
So how does then smoothies, green smoothies, and I love drinking green. Heck, everyone, it's kind of gross, but I may even pee green because I'm drinking so much greens because it's so good for me. How do green smoothies help us, or smoothies in general, wash away the sticky stuff?
All right, I start the day with my smoothie. Now, it's green because I put 2 big handfuls of kale in it. Sometimes I'll put some spirulina, some Hawaiian spirulina into it. It makes it even greener. So a green smoothie. In fact, I have a little book called My Big Green Smoothie. Now, the reason is, the greener the smoothie, the less the sticky stuff. Now, there's a magic word called antioxidants.
Yeah.
Now, antioxidants is a medical term for all the good stuff, the natural, good, healthy biochemicals that are in the greens. Now, what is illness? Why do we get sick? Why do we get joint problems, eye problems, brain problems, heart problems? One simple word, oxidation, which is a medical term for sticky stuff. Greens and fruits and veggies and all the stuff you put in. I put about 8 fistfuls of fruits and veggies in my smoothie, 8 fistfuls. They're full of antioxidants. So if I don't want to oxidize, meaning rust, get old, and I want my goal of aging is everything works and nothing hurts. That's what I want. And that's what antioxidants in your big green smoothie do. They keep you from rusting. you live longer, you lower the spikes and the sticky stuff, and you trim your belly. I took 6 inches off my belly when I realized that the leaner, I don't pay attention to scale weight that much, but the leaner my waist, the longer I'm going to live.
Woohoo! So I look at throughout the day, and I haven't counted it so much recently, but I know if I do, I end up with a good number of ingredients, 21, 22, maybe 25 or 26 ingredients a day of different things that I try to put in my smoothies and get all the colors of the rainbow. In your book is the first time I've heard it. It intuitively makes sense, but the concept of synergy.
Synergy, yes. Synergy is like, this is football season. Okay, we got a lot of bowl games coming up soon. All right, I'm a football fan. Synergy means we play better as a team. A team of 11 players was likely to score more than if you put 5 out there. So when you put a little bit of lots of fruits and veggies together in a rainbow, like Dr. Mom said, put more color on your plate, they help each other. It's like you put a blue and a red and a green and a yellow together. You put 4 together and they act like 8. So it's like the synergy. And that's why you put them all together in a smoothie. Wow. That's why I have my big green smoothie in the morning.
Awesome. Do you have I was looking at the color of your smoothie, and I wonder if you have a secret ingredient that's in there as well.
Yes. It's a 3-letter word. Fat.
Ooh.
The biggest shake mistake people make is, I'm not going to put fat in my shake because fat makes you fat. Wrong. The worst nutritional advice to ever hit America was low-fat diets. You take the fat out of food, you replace it with sugar, and you get fatter. Fat does not make you fat, healthy fat. Dr. Walter Willett, professor of nutrition at Harvard Medical School, made that statement a few years ago. We don't get fat by eating fat. We get fat by eating junk carbs. So I put 1, 2, or 3 fats in my smoothie. First of all, avocado. My favorite fat in the smoothie. I put a whole avocado. You know, you gotta be careful when you take. I just ream it with a knife and then take it like this and go like that and scoop out both sides. Put the avocado in. Healthy fat. If I'm going to have a high energy day, then I'll put some peanut butter or almond butter, any type of nut butter, a tablespoon or 2 of nut butters in there. And if I'm really going to have a highly active day, I'll put some coconut oil in there. And then another fat, sometimes I'll get a yogurt, whole milk, 100% grass-fed, organic yogurt, and put that in. So fat is filling, it tastes good. And also a little bit of fat helps the fruits and veggies be absorbed better in the intestines.
What I love so much, since we're talking about preventing sugar spikes, is that by doing this, you're getting a smoother, steadier burn. It's almost like a meditative drink because it's making more of a rather than something that spins you up and out.
Yes, I love that analogy because fat and fiber blunt sugar spikes, which is just what we want. You take the fiber and the fat out of your smoothie and you're going to spike.
Beautiful. So let's go from there and let's talk about, actually, I want to get into smart snacks. Before we do that, what's a favorite spice or 2 of yours?
My favorite
spices. Spice or 2.
Oh, spices. Turmeric. Turmeric is my top spice. Every night I have on the table, I leave it there, a bottle of turmeric and black pepper in a grinder. So I take one hand with turmeric and sprinkle turmeric on a salad, take the other hand and sprinkle black pepper on the salad, because you mentioned synergy earlier. Turmeric and black pepper become synergy. The black pepper helps the turmeric be absorbed better. That's an old Indian medicine tip that I learned years ago. So turmeric is my top spice.
Beautiful. Maybe we should ask about salads, a top salad eating tip or two, and what's a hot salad?
It's winter time. So once or twice a week, I'll just make a regular salad. I put a couple handful of greens in it, some olives, some organic goat cheese, and I'll then put the spices on it and tomatoes and onions and all that good stuff. And then I put it in a steamer for 2 minutes and steam it. And then I'll take a tablespoon of olive oil and balsamic vinegar on it, 2 minutes, and then I put it in a bowl with a lid on it, and that is my hot salad, which I love during the winter time, and I eat it with chopsticks because it helps me eat more slowly with chopsticks.
Woohoo! My wife, well, I guess her family is from China, and one of the only words that I can say in Chinese, and I would be polite and ask for this at the dinner table, is kuaizi. And I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of it. But there's a benefit to eating with chopsticks, isn't there?
Oh, there is. In fact, I learned that over in China. I was invited over to China a few years ago to give a talk by the China Nutrition Society. And they said, well, why do you want me to come over? And they said, well, Dr. Sears, the Chinese are eating like Americans, and they're getting sick and tired and fat like Americans. Oh, okay, I'll come over. So after one of my talks, a very polite Chinese doctor raised her hand and said, Dr. Bill, why do Americans eat so much so fast? I said, you're exactly right. So I said, I've got the solution to our fast eating problem, because we are a nation of gorgers. So how do we make a gorger? How do we transform a gorger into a grazer? The answer is chopsticks. So I said, I think I'll go home and see if I can get a law passed against forks. And we'll use chopsticks. I was kind of joking, but I thought, that's not a bad idea. I think I'll try it in my medical practice. In fact, let me confess, I use my medical practice as sort of a laboratory to see what works and what doesn't. So I thought, I think I'll take we have a weight management program in our medical practice. So I think I'll say, hide all the forks in your home and use chopsticks. Wow. That proved, Michael, to be the best weight management tool I've ever thought of. So, chopsticks slows you down for number one. Secondly, just the using of chopsticks, you grow more brain cells. It takes a lot of more dexterity to use chopsticks. Now, if you're still a gorger with chopsticks, use your non-dominant hand.
Oh, that'll mess with you.
Really slow you down.
Years ago, I worked in the fashion industry in New York City. I'm talking a long time ago. And I would commute in and out of the city on train to New Jersey. And I would always go at the end of the day and get sushi or some sort of Japanese food was my favorite. Take it on the train. And then I would pull out my chopsticks. And what the chopsticks did was force me to be more mindful, more present. And my eating experience became, in a sense, a meditation.
Yes, and you just used the magic word mindful. See, when you go like that with chopsticks and you go from the plate to the mouth, you're watching your food. You're looking at that food, and as it goes from plate to mouth, you're imagining, how is that food going to transform my health? So let's follow the food for a minute.
Yeah.
As you pick it up, say you're picking up the blueberry. I love to watch kids do that with the chopsticks. Pick up a blueberry or a kidney bean at a time. So the blueberry goes onto your tongue, and you chew times 2. The longer you chew, the better for you. And as you're chewing, and follow me closely, the tongue, the taste buds on the tongue are sending biochemical text messages to the taste center in the brain. And the brain is saying, like the blueberry, I like what you're doing now there, tongue, keep it up. And then the head brain sends biochemical text messages down the center of the body called the vagus nerve, which is a big highway from the head brain to the gut brain, sends a whole bunch of biochemical text messages down to the gut brain, and it says, hey, gut, prepare for your favorite foods to come down. Berries, greens, asparagus, broccoli. And in the gut is what we call the microbiome. That's the magic word in medicine right now, the microbiome. And very simply, the microbiome is your community of gut bugs, the bacteria that line our gut. Now, in return for free food and a warm place to live, these good gut bugs do good things for our body. They help make our own medicine. So the gut bugs send a text message back up to the brain, hey, we like broccoli, we like asparagus, we like the berries. So head brain, you tell the tongue to keep eating that. So over the few weeks of trying this, from the tongue to the head to the gut brain and back and forth, all those text messages, what they do, they program the crave center, that you learn to crave some of the foods that you didn't like before, but you know how good they are.
This implies, thank you, this is brilliant. This implies that, and I don't know if we can do it gradually, we need to step away from the chemical non-foods that get in those receptor sites and completely block our ability to taste what real food is. Exactly.
That's the whole key to our T5 program. They said, well, what is your diet, Dr. Bill? The real food diet. And because the receptors, which is kind of like our where you send the text message. You send a text message to a receptor up there. And the text message, when they receive real foods, they send real good messages down to the gut. But when you say take an artificial sweetener, let's use that. That's the worst. I'm going to drink a Diet Cola. No. Artificial sweeteners trigger an artificial biochemical response in the head brain that triggers it in the gut brain that says, hey, that's not real, so we're going to fight it. And so you get a fight going on in your gut. And a fight is what we call inflammation. This is why we have an epidemic of irritable bowel syndrome, pains in the gut, colitis, arthritis, all that. Those are simply that the immune system got confused and said, hey, this ain't real food, so we're going to fight it. And when you overfight in your immune system overfights, that's what's called inflammation. That's why we are an inflammation nation of itis illnesses.
How are sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, stuff that's in soft drinks, stuff that's in pink packets, blue packets, how are they actually making us more obese rather than thinner?
Well, for one thing, they trigger the crave center in your brain to drink more. So if you were a soft drink maker, isn't that what you want?
Oh, yeah.
Drink more, buy more. So it triggers you to drink more. Secondly, it triggers a craving for sweets. It's like the brain says, this is not a real sweet. Give me more real sweets. Give me more sugar. So one of the worst things you can do to so-called lose weight is to drink diet drinks. That is weight control 101. Don't do diet drinks. The 4 Ds.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Grazing over gorging.
Grazing over gorging. All right, well, let's imagine I have two patients in my office.
Mm-hmm.
One comes in, let's call him George the Gorger. All right, and his wife brings him in. George, you sit there and listen to Dr. Bill. This happens in my office, okay? So George eats too much, too fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so imagine George, a cola in one hand, a big burger in another hand, and fries on his plate. So he starts gorging, and meanwhile, I'm drawing blood from his arm. Just imagine I'm drawing blood.
Yeah.
And here's what's happening in George the Gorger's bloodstream. The sticky stuff level is going up and up and up. He's spiking. George is spiking. And that sticky stuff is sticking to the sides of his arteries. And he is going to get pains in the gut, pains in the brain, pains in the joints, pains everywhere because of sticky stuff accumulating throughout his body. Now, let's take, on the other hand, Gracie the Grazer. Gracie eats with chopsticks. She sips on a smoothie. She snacks on small mini meals throughout the day. Gracie doesn't spike. She doesn't spike. So George the Gorger is destined for what we call the 3 Ds. Disability, disease, and doctors. Gracie, on the other hand, has mental clarity, good feelings in the gut. And you know, Michael, when you feel good in the gut, and that's one of our real philosophies and our mantras of the T5 program, feeling good in the gut. When you feel good in the gut, you feel good in your head brain. They go together.
Woohoo! So let's go from feeling good in the gut, and this has everything to do with feeling good in the gut. Let's talk about movement and what the endothelium has to do with anything.
The endothelium. You just mentioned the magic word in medicine. If I had to pick one of the most important words in medicine that most people know the least about, it's the endothelium. So let me take you back when I was very sick and had to get well.
Yeah.
I surrounded myself with some very brilliant scientists, and one of those was a Dr. Lou Ignarro from UCLA. What I'm going to tell you in a minute is won the Nobel Prize. So I wanted to surround myself because there was so much junk about health out there, a wrong thing, diet thing. I wanted to talk to the real scientists. So Lou and his wife come down for dinner, and Lou is explaining to me how he won the Nobel Prize. And what he discovered is inside our body, we have a giant pharmacy. We are a walking drugstore. And so meanwhile, he's explaining this in biochemical terms, and I'm drawing a picture on a little napkin because I'm a pediatrician. After a while, you begin to think like a child and talk like a child. My wife says act like a child. So I wanted to take his Nobel Prize winning research and translate it into fun and simple language, which is what we did in our book. And so if you can imagine the lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium, call it the silver lining. Picture trillions of microscopic medicine bottles lining the artery. Now, do they look like medicine bottles? No, microscopically, they look like squirt bottles, actually. And they've discovered now 23 different medicines inside those medicine bottles. Medicines that lower the highs, like high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol, high blood sugar. Medicines that elevate the lows, like antidepressants. Medicines that mellow your moods, like anti-anxiety medicines. Medicines that heal the hurt, anti-inflammatories. So I just mentioned the medicines that most people take. However, and this is important, Michael, the medicines you make are safer than the medicines you take because they're custom made just for you. They come out at the right time, the right dose, no side effects. Medicare will love you. And so that became the theme of all of our recent books, especially the transformation book, and that is you can make your own medicines. Make your own medicines became sort of our trademark teaching throughout the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute. I say that 10 times a day in my office. Hey, Joe, you can make your own medicines. Hey, Michael, you can make your own medicines. Wow, doctor, tell me how. And that's exactly how. Now, movement.
Yes.
What do you have to do to make your own medicines? To open your medicine bottles? Two things. You keep the sticky stuff off the tops of the medicine bottles by what we've been talking about. And secondly, you move more. And this is what won the Nobel Prize. When you move, the blood flows faster over the tops of the medicine bottles and creates an energy field called a shear force and pops the lids open on the medicine bottles. So you want to have some fun tomorrow. Try this, Michael. Say you're out with a group of friends and you're walking fast. And you're walking real fast. You say, oh, it feels so good to be making my own medicines. I'm opening my medicine bottles. They'll look at you and they say, you're doing what? Yeah, I'm moving. Movement opens my medicine bottles. My pharmacy is open and it feels so good. So that is one of the themes of our T5 program. Make your own medicines. And the more you move, the more medicines you make.
Woohoo! So let's talk about the opposite of that and how we can counteract that. What's the danger of this puppy I've got right here sitting on this perch?
All right. This is called the sitting disease. Mm-hmm. The sitting disease is a brand new disease in the doctor's dictionary. Now, we sit too much. Yeah. So I figured, okay, that's not going to change. We're going to have desk jobs. Mm-hmm. So what we did in our book, we have a whole chapter on how you can actually move your body while sitting. You can actually move your blood flow while sitting. So right now, I am doing a workout.
My legs extended. I'm tightening that quad.
You got it. You can't see it. So I'm elevating my legs off the floor about 6 inches, and I'm holding them up until I feel the burn. It takes about 30, 40 seconds. Feel the burn. And when you feel the burn, you'll feel your heart rate go up a bit. Mm-hmm. You'll feel your breathing rate go up a bit. So you can actually have a workout while sitting. You can hold your hands together, flex your pecs. You can, get a standing desk. While you're standing at the desk, stand on your heels and don't lock your knees, but bend your knees a little bit and hold that pose for a minute. So you can actually still have a sitting job, a desk job, and have a good workout. It's called isometrics.
Woo! Tell us about your mom being right and nature. I think she told you go outside and play.
Go outside and play. So we talked about movement, the play, how it makes your own medicines. Outside. What is it about outside? We have a chapter in a book called E-Y-E, I feel good. So when, like right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm looking outside at trees and water and green grass, and that comes into my eyes. Now, the eye, your vision is the largest sense in your brain. It has more real estate in your brain than any of the other senses. So when the eye feels good by what you see, it comes into the brain and says, brain, feel good. That's why Mom said, Dr. Mom's treatment for boredom and bad behavior, even as a kid, hey, go outside and play. Because movement mellows the mind. Neurologists call it visual Valium. Just look at the blue sky. Now, this is important for the young folks, too. And I do this in my office when I do, say, an exam on a teenager. they come in and I say, hey, Joe, you have text neck because you're bending over like this all day. You've got text neck, man. You look like an old man. Come on. So I want you to, for every minute you're in the text, I want you to raise your head like this, look at the sky, and say hi to the sky. So that balances your text neck. And also it makes you feel good. So hi to the sky, and I have them do that in my office, and that balances the text neck. So when, especially in today's society, when we're indoors a lot, we need to look outdoors as much as you can. Put your computer near a window. When I'm doing a lecture, for example, and they say, what type of lecture hall do you have? I say one with a window in it. So as I'm lecturing to the audience, I can periodically look behind them and see a window. Wow. And that's why you'll find students. My Sister Mary Ursula caught me doing that years ago. I would spend a lot of time looking at the window, staring out the window, because nature mellows the mind. So again, Dr. Mom said, go outside and play.
I love it. And I'm thinking of being in kind of a steely room with flickering fluorescence and seeing the amygdala, the sympathetic nervous system response through the roof versus having a window and being able to look out at nature and just feeling that coming over the body.
And you mentioned a bad word there, fluorescent lights. Our brain was never meant to look at fluorescent lights. And if you want to dumb down your brain, have an office with fluorescent light. So that's one of the first things I would recommend. Revamp that office, get natural lighting, have windows, and go outside and play.
Woohoo! So let's jump real briefly into stress less here, and that's kind of what we're talking about with nature. How do we rewire our worry circuit?
Rewiring the worry center. So first of all, how you start the day. As soon as you get up in the morning, before you start worrying, oh my gosh, I've got to meet a deadline, am I going to get to work on tomorrow? Before the worry center clicks in, you immediately start thinking what we call the attitude of gratitude. So let me take you how I start my day every day. And I start in a swimming pool, a club of all. I got to go swim. If you don't have if your swimming pool is even better. I call it flotation therapy, but you can do that just by moving your arm. So I get out of bed and I say the attitude of gratitude. Thank you for my life. 78 years.
Your arms are spreading. For those who can't see it, your arms are spreading around almost as if you're doing the breaststroke, which would actually help that text neck.
Exactly. Exactly. And see, when you move your arms in synchrony with the mantra of your voice, it means more. So thank you for my life, 78 years. Thank you for my wife, 51 years. Thank you for my health, cancer survivor. Thank you for my wealth, 8 kids. Thank you for my MD. Please make it my ministry. All right, now that took a minute or two. And what a way to start the day, because you've programmed your brain. And I call this front loading. And what made me think about this is we've learned years ago that when you start the day with a brainy breakfast, you program the brain to eat well the rest of the day. It's called nutritional front loading. So I thought maybe that could work for not only the food we put into our mouth, but the thoughts we put into our brain. So if we begin the day with the attitude of gratitude, we all have something to be thankful for. And you program the brain, you say, hey brain, this is how we're going to start the day. And this is how we're going to spend most of our day, with happy thoughts and good thoughts. And when a toxic thought comes into our brain, it's going to go right into the trash bin.
I love it. I almost had tears in my eyes, because we're talking about mirror neurons. We're talking about getting in sync with each other. We're talking about entrainment. You hit the tuning fork, and not only did you go right back to that place of gratitude you start each morning, I entrained with that. I think others entrained with that, and you carry that frequency with you throughout the day.
Yes. It's like you're telling the brain, hey, brain, this is how we're going to spend the day. Pay attention.
What's the benefit, the importance of meditation to you?
Meditation quiets the mind. And we are a busy society, Michael, and we're going to get busier. And every once in a while, you have to just dial down the brain and quiet the brain. I call it in our book mind mute. Muting your mind. It's kind of like one of the misconceptions about meditation is you don't think about anything. Not really. All you're doing is quieting the mind so you can listen to yourself. You want to keep out all the extraneous toxic thoughts. Yeah. And listen to yourself, your beautiful mind. So that is the benefit of meditation. You start the day. That's my whatever works for you, whatever mantra. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my job. Thank you for my girlfriend. Thank you for my kids. Whatever you have, that can be your mantra. Just the attitude of gratitude, but just quiet your mind. Quiet your mind.
What is, talking about sharing with friends, what's a buddy transformer?
All right, a buddy transformer. Now, when we developed the T5 program, we realized, we sat back and we studied this and said, who are the transformers who are most likely to stay transformed? Those are the ones who have a buddy system.
Yep.
Where, for example, you transform your life, like my co-author, Aaron, child number 5. We have so many children, Michael, we have to number them. Okay, so child number 5, Aaron had an incredible mind-body transformation, and her story is in the book. And what she learned, the way she could stay transformed from the inside, she not only lost 70 pounds, but she transformed her mind from unhealthy habits to healthy habits. And she did this by having a group of buddies around her that she helped transform. And she developed the helper's high. Okay, Susie, I'm going to help you transform your life, and we're going to help each other be accountable. It's called being sustainable. We're going to last. So I'm going to help you be accountable, and you make me accountable. And we're going to grow together.
Beautiful. And I like it. One of the things that you said that was rather unique, but it made a lot of sense to me, is the power of working with someone who's recovering from addiction.
Yes. And one of the biggest mistakes that therapists make is, well, we're going to cure you of your addiction. Well, that's only half of it. If you have an addictive personality, celebrate it. But let's get you addicted to a positive addiction.
Woohoo!
And Erin tells her story that see, a positive addiction means there's something in your mind that you really get into and you crave. Okay, well, let's make health your addiction. Let's make healthy eating your addiction. Let's make programs like this and sharing with people and the helper's high. Let's make that your addiction. Right? So we don't change your addiction. We call it channeling. We're going to channel your addiction into a positive addiction instead of a negative addiction.
Brilliant. Let's go from there real briefly. We're talking about changing the mind. Maybe you can talk to us briefly about the neuroscience of spirituality and the benefit of focusing our mind on spirituality or God.
Yes, we have a whole chapter called Grow Your God Center. And what that means is inside our brain, we are programmed for a spiritual center. To believe there is a higher center there is a higher force, there is a God, and we are not alone. See, that's the thing. That's also in people who are have an addictive personality. We get them into spiritual growth because we've observed. Again, I'm a very science-oriented doctor. Show me the science. And I've learned over the years that the more spiritually grounded a person, the more a person has a God center that they listen to and follow, the happier they are.
And that can be anything. It doesn't mean God, G-O-D. It can be anything, a belief in something greater inside or outside of yourself.
Yes. In fact, this is called the belief effect. Now, I learned about the belief effect when I was healing from cancer. So here's what I learned. That inside my body, there are trillions of little Pac-Men, little cells called NK cells. They're like little Pac-Men. And they travel around your body to eat up cancer cells. Now, pardon me, Michael, but you and I right now have cancer cells in our body. We all do.
It's okay. However, I love those little guys too.
Okay, but we also have a bunch of soldiers traveling around to eat up the cancer cells. Now, there are two things that make those cancer-eating cells, the NK cells, work better. How you feed them, all the good foods we talked about, and how you believe in them. This is the greatest mystery in medicine. The more you believe the cancer cells will be eaten up by your anti-cancer cells, the more they will. It's like, and here's what we believe happens, that I believe I am going to heal. You send a text message from your brain to those NK cells, those Pac-Men. Hey, Pac-Men, you search out those cancer cells and eat them up, and the Pac-Man goes next to a cancer cell and actually shoots a biochemical bullet into that cancer cell and blows it up. We call this the belief effect. The more I believe I will heal, the more likely I am to heal.
So when we talk about belief effect, believers heal better, they grow their empathy center, a younger brain, happier sense of self. Anything else that this does, that this belief center helps us to do?
The belief center, it helps us heal. It helps us share. And what it does, it grows your sense of worth. Hey, I am a good person. You start focusing on what you have. Wow, I've got pretty eyes. Or I've got pretty hair. Okay, I've got pimples on my back, but that's okay. I've got pretty face. So it helps you believe that I am really worth something. I have a great sense of worth.
Woohoo! What's the importance of a 20-second hug?
A 20-second hug. That is what they've researched this. A 20-second hug means that it often takes 20 seconds of hugging a person to feel the effect of a hug. For example, say I would hug you, Michael, pretend I'm hugging you for 20 seconds now. And
well, thank you, Bill.
Thank you. And I would wire up your brain and your heart. After 20 seconds, your heart rate goes down. Your breathing rate goes down a bit. Your stress hormones go down a bit. But oftentimes it takes 20 seconds. Now, following a hug or even before a hug, take a deep breath. Now, taking a deep breath, big belly breath, you balloon out your belly, inhale, Inhale, and then you exhale to the count of 5, but you hum as you exhale. Inhale. What the humming does, the humming vibrates the little hair cells in your nose, and those cells make a biochemical called nitric oxide, NO, you mentioned. NO is a natural tranquilizer for the brain. So inhale, exhale.
Woohoo! What advice would you give parents to help their kids today?
I would say give them the tools that we talked about for adults. Give them early. You know, parenting in a nutshell, I've said this one time at a school. I said, why do we send our kids to school? What is parenting? Parenting is giving your children the tools to succeed in life, period. What the greatest tool you can give your child is mental and physical health. Give them a toolbox. This is what we eat. This is how we think. This is how we move. This is how we help. This is how we show compassion. That's the toolbox that every parent wants to equip their children with.
And you would say give it to them early.
Young. Give it to them young. The younger, because the brain is mostly formed by 5 years of age. 90% of our brain growth is by 5 years of age. And one of the biggest mistakes I've heard parents make, they say, well, you know, I think I'll let my child make her own decision when she's older. Wrong. That goes against everything we know about the brain. The brain is the greatest garden ever grown. And what do you need for a garden to grow great? You need to plant deep roots. And you want to plant those roots in those early years when the brain garden is most fertile. That's when you want to plant a sense of spirituality, a belief effect in a young child. This is what we eat, but Mom, I don't like avocado sun. This is what we eat. This is what we eat. This is what we believe. This is how we talk. This is how we act. You plant the roots. And will they deviate from them? Probably so. But they're more likely to come back to the roots you gave them because you planted them early.
Woohoo! I was reading your story about what you said was your, quote, mistake with your earliest kids. I'm putting that in quotes there. How important is it for us to try to be as close as we can, both as fathers and as mothers, during those early years with our children?
You do the best you can with the resources you have. Now, one of the great things about the brain,
thank you,
Michael, is it's called neuroplasticity. And all that means that we can change our brain at any age. Say you had a difficult childhood or so, you had a difficult marriage, a difficult relationships. You can change your brain at any age. It's just the earlier we start, the better. And that's why we use the term think, change your brain throughout the book rather than cognitive behavioral therapy and all the big terms. We said, hey, you can think, change your brain.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What personally brings you the greatest happiness, or what I call the woohoo factor?
Quite honestly, doing programs like this, because my feeling after we go off the air, my brain will stay on the air, because I'll get up from the desk and realize there may be 1, 2, or 3, or 1,000 people watching our program. Something you said, something I said will change their life. And we go to bed tonight realizing that some people will live happier, healthier, and longer because of a program like this.
And that is from both of us. Woohoo!
Yes.
That's why we do what we do, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So I have a New Year's wish, though. I wish that everyone would get a copy of our book.
Perfect segue. Where do people go to find out more and to find your beautiful book?
Well, you can find it at all the bookstores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And again, read it, do it, and feel it. Dr. Bill's New Year wish for you.
And Dr. Bill, what website would you send them to find out more?
You can go to our own personal website, AskDrSears.com. Mm-hmm. But also we have a website where Aaron and I are doing videos on some subjects in the book called Dr. Sears Wellness, drsearswellness.org, drsearswellness.org, where Aaron and I are doing videos. I'm doing exercises. I'm doing some flotation therapy. Aaron is doing yoga, teaching yoga. So drsearswellness.org.
Fantastic. And if you're driving down the road and you didn't catch that, go to AskDrSears.com and drsearswellness.org. Come on over to InspireNationShow.com and we'll get you over to AskDrSears.com and drsearswellness.org. Before we do a really brief meditation, would you have any words of wisdom you want to share? This has been truly phenomenal, Bill.
Make health your hobby. Make health your hobby. And when you get up in the morning and what you eat, what you think, the habits you do throughout the day, the first thought in your mind is this going to be healthy for my mind and body? Make health your hobby.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Bill. This has been phenomenal and such a treat. Would you mind sharing with us for just 2 minutes then your flotation therapy meditation?
Yes. Attitude of gratitude. Thank you for my life, 78 years. Thank you for my wife, 51 years. Thank you for my health, cancer survivor. Thank you for my wealth, 8 kids. Thank you for my MD. Please make it my ministry.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Bill. This has been such an honor and such a treat.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to share it with the world.
Oh, thank you too, Michael.
For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get the Dr. Sears T5 Wellness Plan, and begin upgrading your health today and shine bright. Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Michael, that was great. Now, let us know when it's going to be aired, and we'll put it on the home page of our website.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, you're a great interviewer, and let's do it again.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. Subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up. And check out our website, InspireNationShow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources to really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!